please stand while we do the opening prayer and pledge of allegiance.
Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to serve you in this city. Lord, we just pray that you would help us make wise decisions. Lord, we just pray that every decision would bring you glory and honor and praise. We ask that you bless this community. We pray that every family and every business would prosper and be in good health. We pray for your hedge of protection over the schools and over our children specifically. And we just thank you again for this opportunity to serve you. And we praise your name in Jesus' name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How you doing?
Okay. All right. Good evening. We're going to begin with the consideration and approval of last month's minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last month?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. For new business, I am going to make one modification to the agenda. Just I'm going to move Matt Pike before D. Noblin. So if you're looking at the agenda, we're just going to make that one change. We'll end with D. Noblin. And first up, we've got, I'll open the public hearing for Sip Outdoors, conditional use.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, so Sip Outdoors, the existing building over in the C2 zone, they're behind Zaxby's and Crystal's. They're planning a small addition to their building, and they want to provide a meat processing, deer processing service. It's kind of a unique thing. When I was researching the use, I could not find any mention of it or anything. Which kind of hurt me from making a determination on. So I took it to the Board of Aldermen last week to identify if and where this should be. And they did vote to allow it as a conditional use in the C2 zone. So that's what we're approaching. They're asking for a conditional use to have a deer processing, meat processing, small element to their retail store there. And that's what the conditional use is for. The owner's here as well as the designer. If you guys got any questions.
Was all signed?
Yes, I'm sorry. We made a publication and put a sign out. We did not get any comments regarding this. Mr. Patton Graw is the owner of it. He'd probably like to speak towards it.
Yes. Not only, I don't want us to all think that it's just going to be a deer processing facility. We plan on doing deer processing, but we're also getting it to where with the USDA that we can also do beef, and therefore we can have steaks and that kind of thing, especially during the spring and summer, because it's not really useful to us if we just have it for one part of the year. So when our architect built it out, that's how we built it out to where it would qualify for both, so that it could provide even more of a use for our community. I mean, I know that a lot of us travel over to Florida to get steaks or something like that. And also our plan is to try to, obviously our name is Sip Outdoors. We'd like to use beef grown in the state of Mississippi, and that's kind of going to be our point and our focal point. Also, I've called other places like Olivia's Emporium. I don't know if any of you know that, the pre-made meals. She and I have been talking about being able to offer the pre-made meals where people could stop by and just grab a tin of spaghetti or lasagna or something if they're having a family reunion or something of that nature. So it's not just going to be a deer processing facility, just so that we all know what our plan is, so that there's, so that you can see the whole plan. Okay. Any questions for anyone?
Any questions?
Just to clarify, so it sounds like you're obviously most deer processing processing will be people bringing it in and out, just personal, customers or whatever. But like you mentioned, working with Olivia's at Food Emporium and all that, you're basically just going to be like supplying them to sit out the meals, or
Yeah,
you're
what
going to sell some of their meals in your.
I'm gonna sell some of their meals that are frozen in our facility just to help out another business. I don't want to get into to make it. She does it a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to places that people really like, and at certain times of the year we'll probably have specialty product from other places that maybe do boudin or something of that nature, and just do some different things for our community. Especially seasonal items. I know most of you know that we do a big crawfish boil. We're not going to get into crawfish sales, but people associate us with that kind of thing. So that's why we're looking to do it.
Okay. So it's gonna be like a mini storefront with a like butcher counter and then like small like freezers and whatnot. You'll store
Yeah,
stock with
when you
ready-made frozen and fresh.
Yeah, when you walk in, it's going to be an area probably from me to you guys right there, where you walk in and you're able to order and you're able to do anything that you want to.
And essentially, Patrick, they have an awning there where they have some outside sales.
Yeah.
They're enclosing that, adding a storefront, and then they'll add refrigeration units to that small addition right there as well. And then everything's gonna be fenced in, from public view.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you guys, I appreciate you.
And do we have anyone else here that would like to speak, either in favor or in opposition? If not, then I'll close the public hearing. And we can discuss the conditional use.
I guess, did this go through architectural review?
It did. Yes, and it passed. Do I have a motion to approve this conditional use?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Hey, thank you.
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Okay.
Okay, second is the site plan approval. So it's a small addition like we talked about, an existing site. And one thing we requested was this property has no landscaping whatsoever. So they've agreed to add landscaping along the road frontage there. Currently the east side, where you see the grade area, that's gravel. They're going to pave that and then leave the gravel behind the fence as their private area back there. The parking is more than sufficient, and my only recommendation is that they add fencing along the church background back there, just kind of get some separation right there. The eastern side is a big treed property line, so there's really no visibility there, but I do believe they need some fencing to separate the church and the process of dealing with meat back there, so.
I have a question, and it may be, I'm not sure how, I love Jeremy, probably all the time, but I don't really understand like logistics of it, and I need to get on into the details, but when you're dealing with like, I guess disposing, is there like a certain type of, and maybe I should have asked this earlier, I apologize, way that things are kept where it doesn't
Great
cause
question.
issues for like
No,
businesses around them and.
How do you
disposing
plan
of
to
it?
do it?
Great question. We've
Yeah.
already talked to Republic Services.
Okay.
And there is, you have to do it special. It's not just a normal dumpster.
Okay,
And I've already, got everything done with them, and they're going to come twice a week so that there's not any issue with any kind of, smell or anything else. I realize it's winter time and you wouldn't think there'd be a smell, but I have no idea,
yeah. for sure.
So we've already talked to them. I've already got everything done on that end. We were just kind of waiting, as we get the bill. That was one of our concerns too.
Awesome.
Obviously, we don't want it to smell people walking in our store, so,
And the dumpsters, it's in the back.
It'll be in the fenced area.
Behind the
Correct.
fence.
Right now, it's out front, but they're gonna move it to the back.
And that's gravel back there right now.
Correct.
One thing is, I guess, a question for Kane. I guess the Alderman, they passed the new design, architectural ordinance, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this would fall under that in, I guess, whatever zone it is on the map.
C2.
Well,
And the architectural, I believe this is,
it would be under, yeah, the highway commercial, yeah.
right.
So I don't know if there's any, did you look through, is there anything with that new ordinance we need to be looking at?
Well, that was handled in ARC. You know, they voted to keep this, P and Z is gonna be focused on site and usage, and then ARC will be handling all the architectural standards. So we need to focus on site here. So,
One thing we did discuss, was landscaping with the current situation of, they're adding trees
correct, along Business Park.
and shrubbery as well.
Chris, if you go to the renderings, it shows
That was
some of
one
the-
thing that didn't make
Yeah.
Currently, they don't have any.
Yeah, they don't have anything
Yeah.
up there.
They upgraded the fence design. It's a little bit nicer, more standard. 8 foot tall.
Like I said, I do think they need to add a fence in the back on that north side there.
So that is not on these
Correct.
plans?
And that could be part of the recommendation.
And your recommendation for the fence in the back is to separate it from the church?
Correct,
Is that
just
what
to
it
have a barrier back there. They're really tight back there, and,
Then we have sufficient parking for the,
yes, it's not more than enough. I believe it required 35 spots, and they're showing 51. He's got spillover parking further south.
From a logistics standpoint, or this map right here, which way are you, like, having drop-offs come in and out?
And Pat, you probably speak to it, but from what they've told me, they'll pull in and they'll pull behind the fenced area. So when they pull a deer out, it'll be completely blocked from view.
Yeah, you're not, that's one part of the fence that's gonna be effective for us is, I don't want, someone that don't wanna see that. I realize that they're at a hunting store, but I don't care. They're gonna pull into the gated area. It's gonna be partitioned off. You're not gonna see it.
And there's like a rear entrance, I guess, into the processing in that back area.
Yeah, there's a side entrance there. And the only place that anybody would offload a deer, other than cooler, would be in the very back. They'll pull through the gate and offload it in the very, very back. So people are gonna pull up, you guys, I'm sure some of y'all hunt, they pull up with a cooler and it's still on the side entrance there. We just take the cooler out. You wouldn't see it. If somebody had a deer that asked us to do that, and we do not want to do it, but if somebody says, hey, we need you to do this, it's in the very, very back, inside the gated inside the fencing. And that's another reason that I get why we need to put fencing on both sides. They've got a great relationship with the church and the pastor there. They park in our parking lot on Sunday, and he's fully aware of what we're doing.
And signage and everything will be set up, just, again, to your point, I understand it, but like the other deer press in Kane, right? It's right in the middle of the two storefronts. You walk straight inside of it. Just making sure people don't come to this, the main store with a, cooler full of whatever.
We
you know.
don't, we don't want that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I mean,
one will say probably, SIP processing or SIP mates or something.
They're allowed directional signs to inform.
okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah, they walk in with a cooler on their shoulder.
Well, to your point, I mean, with it being a hunting store, like,
Yeah.
people should be more attuned to it, but
Yeah.
maybe not either, but I mean, it's not
Yeah,
all.
we also have fishing and women's and kids
Right.
clothing in there and all
It's a
that.
nice
I don't
store.
want them.
Haven't come there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay.
Do I have any motions regarding the consideration of the site plan?
I'll make a motion, we approve with the recommendation of adding a fencing on the backside. Some of the rest of the fencing.
Second.
Do you have a specific?
Just some, whatever matches the rest of the fencing, I guess. Like, I don't know,
Proposed up front's an 8-foot wooden fence.
Yeah.
For really tall.
to match the rest of it.
So
Yeah.
what's in line with
So going around the
architecture?
whole perimeter or just going down the side?
I guess mainly that, the perimeter on the backside.
Yeah, the east side is the drainage ditch. Be kind of hard to put the fence there, but you also have that bushy tree line there that really separates it well.
So just to clarify, where it needs to start and stop.
Okay. And we had a second.
Yeah, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we'll open the public hearing for, the Briggs Pro Truck expansion conditional use.
Yeah, so Rick's Pro Truck over on Calhoun Station is adding an additional building to their property. And what they're planning on doing is adding a mixed-use retail up front and warehouse storage to support the existing warehouse. And in C2, any enclosed storage or warehousing requires conditional use. The applicant was requesting approval for this use, and we do believe it's a good use that'll complement the existing building. I know the design's here, Mr. Orr's here, if you guys have got any questions regarding that. We did make a publication in the paper and place a sign on the property, and at this time, no public comments were made to us. That's the existing there. If you're going down a couple, Chris. There we go. That's the addition. We had to make a few adjustments. That lower arc line right there at the corner of the building, that's actually regulatory floodway. So we had to shift it a little bit to get that outside of it. And as I'll talk in the site plan, this whole area is in the floodplain. And, but he's more than building over our 18 inches of freeboard there, so.
And do we have anyone that would like to speak on behalf of this market?
I'm Joseph Orr, the architect. Basically, it's a very simple issue here. Mr. Estelle has outgrown his warehouse. And rather than build another warehouse, like any owner operator, he's saying, I can build a warehouse and then partition off the front part of it for retail and let them subsidize the cost of the warehouse. And so that's what I've got, kind of a bifurcated building, front and a backside. He has no interest in public access to his portion of the work. He just needs access to more storage space for his warehouse operations. And a lot of that is tires. But I will say that he does not really they don't do repairs. It's not a truck repair place. It's strictly accessories and products and parts that you buy from them.
Anyone here want to speak in opposition of this? Okay. In that case, we can close the public hearing. And the open discussion on the conditional use.
I do find it a little weird having the two uses in one. I mean, I think it's okay in this case because you got somebody using it, but I could see if Rick's leaves, it kind of becomes a bit of an awkward situation on, it's clear. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, this warehousing will not be set up to like tie in with this retail space. It'll be totally separated.
Correct. The warehouse, correct me if I'm wrong, is pretty much dedicated to the existing building.
Right. But it's not connected to it. It's just.
Correct. Like it's going to be used by the truck operation.
So if these were ever sold separately, we have a weird warehouse add-on that really has no.
Well, I mean, the retails could utilize it. They could add space to it too as well.
Yeah, it'd have to be kind of modified maybe in some way.
It'd have to be renovated, sure.
Yeah.
And we're creating a backyard for him with a gate. This thing would need that curb cut along Calhoun Station to really work for the retail component, and it's there. People are gonna stay out of the backyard, and we're also putting a dumpster, whereas he's been there for years without a dumpster. So we've got a dope-in dumpster. So I really, obviously I'm speaking on behalf of my client, but I really think this is an improvement to his back of house.
And one thing too, which I was gonna mention in the site plan, is we are requiring people now to add a sidewalk along the right of way. And they are adding that sidewalk. For the benefit of the big sidewalk is correct.
So you're gonna gate off the north entrance there?
There's the gate right there.
There, okay. So you're still proposing the two entrances on Calhoun?
Right.
One's already there.
No, one's already there.
Right, yeah.
Just the one at the south is the new one, but you'll be able to drive through.
Well, and I would much prefer to not have the second entrance to avoid cutting Calhoun in more spots than necessary, especially with such a limited frontage. It's not like you're having to drive down a long drive to get to it. It's right there next to it.
We just don't want people to feel like they're coming to Rick's Pro Truck, or he
Right.
doesn't want he must be able to sell this to his retail tenants.
Right. Well, we have some stuff in the ordinance about trying to minimize curb cuts and having shared drives with your neighbors when possible. And with it being the same owner, especially, I mean, it really makes sense to not have a second cut. And it would free you up room for a couple more parking spots potentially, as well, which is nice. But, I don't see the need to cause more traffic confusion there on Calhoun Station by having a second entrance.
Chris, do you have anything to say to that?
How close are they?
As little as possible works. I think it will. What I'm more concerned now is, where we are in relation to the park.
That was my other question was I can't see what's directly across. I can look from the existing. Because it's always nice to kind of align your entrances when you can. Yeah, I don't know where the park entrance is on.
So neither one, I mean, you'll have the entrance more than likely will come out at this curb cut further on down.
Further down?
Yeah,
Okay.
further down.
Yeah.
It'll more line up the listeners.
But I think with some landscaping, some signage, you could make it clear that entrance accesses both buildings. And Rick's obviously has one off the Autobahn or whatever that is there as well. But me personally, I find it unnecessary and it's going to cause extra traffic for the city.
Well, we like it. I mean, I think it's gonna help sell the product in his terms. I understand we're seeing things from two different perspectives. And I ask you that you consider putting it there.
Does he already have leases? Like, are these just examples?
It's all speculative, and I
Okay.
really haven't had, even though, I mean, he was quick to put a sign up there. You've probably seen the sign. Doesn't even really match the rendering. He wanted to get his name out there. That's the way Rick operates. But I don't have any perspective tenants.
So these aren't the tenants that are on this right now.
No, it's just.
No, this is,
And they are using this driveway as well to get rid of the open ditch, also with some curb lines to catch some of that water coming down through there. So the open ditch itself, not only will they be adding sidewalk, they're gonna be piping it front driveway,
Down to
property
the,
line, property.
down to the big ditch.
Yeah.
And that runs west into the lake, right?
Right.
I guess,
Well, it would run, it wouldn't go to the park, right? It would just run to the stream that is beside the park, towards the, safety. Right?
It's actually a drainage, a detention ditch
Right
right
here.
there,
Right, does that doesn't that run to the west and into the
Oh,
lake?
you're right, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That was
and,
the confusion when we had it.
It's going to,
yeah, and right now, we're discussing the conditional
Correct.
use, so,
Yeah.
before we start getting too deep in the weeds on the site plan.
Well, they have to make permission, they have to
Yeah.
explain ingress and egress as part of getting their conditional use.
Keep in mind, this would be the time to add any conditions to the property.
Right. What about, so I guess what gets stored in this warehouse mainly?
I think it's gonna be more of the same that he sells right now, which are gonna be wheels, tires, truck accessories, winches, bed liners.
And so those come in on,
They come in on 18-wheelers and they come to the back of the house. That's the only way to get through. He's got, on his existing building, he's got overhead doors on both sides.
right,
And we have single access. At one time, we explored the idea of a double access to the back, but I really think he just sees this as overflow. He's gonna keep his truck, installation procedures in his main building. So we lay it out, we give him a rack layout, see how the forklift turns around and has 2 overhead doors to come in and do his stuff. There's a firewall between it and the adjacent tenants. I think Mr. German makes a good point. I mean, it could be that there are tenants that want to lease retail, warehouse space, and we may wind up at some point coming back to you or the permit department and moving that wall.
right.
Just depends on how he feels like he needs to run his operations.
There's 6,000 square feet on the retail space, right?
Correct. I think it's 7,700 on the warehouse side.
So depending on what comes in there, that's gonna adjust your parking requirements, but
No, we've got that figure. The retail is per 225 square feet, so required is 27 for retail and 8 for the warehouse, because it's 1 per 1,000 square feet for the warehouse.
Right.
So he requires 35, and he's actually got 42 provided. But one thing we touched on here is at the last minute, I noticed a couple rows he had the widths at 9.5 when they're supposed to be 10. So he's kind of rearranging that now. He's got that. So
We
we'll
can
have
hold
that.
that. I think I'm sorry to interrupt. We can hold that car count. He's gonna adjust the islands.
So you don't have to lose too many of them.
No, I don't
But
think.
you had enough for 42, so 35 is required.
Right.
So he's got to work out a couple of those 9'5" spots.
unless a restaurant or something that had a different.
Yeah, a restaurant will change the game, so
It needs to be retail.
yeah,
We're not making any provisions for a
yeah,
restaurant.
I don't think they were planning on that. But that would be some, say a restaurant comes in, we would try to account for like Wingstop, you know. we did a
Even if
couple
a
weeks
restaurant
ago.
did come in, there's provisions in my code, which I think carries over y'all's, where if they're so small, they can be called business. So it becomes no different than a boutique.
So we
So,
can look at
Business
that.
occupancy.
yeah, Wingstop's doing that now. They're technically not a restaurant.
Domino's the same way.
Right. Yeah, they don't need that much.
But those spaces in the very back are counted for the retail?
Well, so he's adding a pedestrian gate. There's not truly enough up front. So if it's a packed retail day, they would have to utilize some in the back as well. And he does plan on having a pedestrian gate there.
So how would they park there?
Yeah, I don't think that's planning on being a,
No, I think that gate is an open during business.
right, yeah, it's not,
Just at night.
right.
And that can be mitigated by employees parking on that side, and there's things we can do with that. I understand your concerns. In fact, we studied, in fact, we haven't made the decision yet. I've got that retail set up to where it can be divided into 4 bays. Of course, we'll gladly lease it to the one tenant, but if that northern tenant wants to have an entrance on the north side, then I can integrate a door into the storefront that's shown already.
Any other questions? Jason? have a motion?
I was gonna ask about the floodplain stuff. That, do we know how many feet of fill is having to come in?
Well, right now he's saying, 275 is gonna be his finished floor.
What are those contours there?
About 5 feet. Of course, it's a pretty bad soils too.
Yes,
We're gonna have to do
he's
some
gonna cut. He's, it's an AE zone, so he's just required to be 18 inches above base flood. So they'll have to fill out a floodplain development permit and get 3 different elevation certificates.
That is a big chunk of the floodplain to fill in, you know. It's gonna reduce your storage in that area and it could push water other places.
It can, but with it, per FEMA, if it's an AE zone base flood, you don't have to fill out an grass certificate, so.
And the detention area is set to
Yeah.
hold 100% of this area, so.
Right, well, and so that is just to the south of this line, property line, is that where the ditch is?
That's flood, the ditch, you probably need to go to the Google.
It's right here.
Yeah.
That's just to the south of the property line?
Yeah, this is part of the detention area, is all through here.
Right.
Yeah, if you toggle back, you can use that corner as a reference point right here.
Right.
That kind of picks up where that ditch is aligned.
So all this is set to drain down into that ditch.
Correct.
And then into the lake.
Correct.
And then back around.
And this ditch, part of the development
Yeah.
design, is actually called a detention ditch, so the water is supposed to settle there until a certain point and go out.
Is it, are we utilizing the existing dumpsters or we got?
There is no dumpster, so they're adding
That's
one,
new dumpsters coming in.
a double dumpster to be exact.
There's gonna be on the new location.
Is that water?
Correct, it's right over here to
On
the
that
right,
side
see
there.
mouse, yeah.
But there's not gonna be, we get pedestrian traffic or anything else behind that gate going through there. You're saying if they're moving equipment or putting something there, you don't have to worry about pedestrians walking around.
It'll be utilized every day.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be open, and I think they have access all the way around it. I mean, they're gonna have to get some serious signage up and that sort of thing. 'Cause I was told that in between the 2 warehouses, there'll be 4-foot traffic.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay.
But he does have a sidewalk along the north side of the building as well as the gate, so.
This and there's this. I mean, I'd make it conditional.
Yeah. I mean, I like, the use is great. I think it's fine. Even if I think about even leasing that building though, I would give up the entrance for more parking if I wanted to lease that building. Like, I'd rather have more spots in front of my building, especially if it's busy. Like, of course, I do healthcare, so I certainly wouldn't want a patient having to walk all the way from the back, you know, so I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be feasible either way, but I think in an ideal world, we would just set up nice signage and make it a good entrance there on the one that's already existing. And add more spots in the front.
Do you want to make that motion?
I mean, I guess if that was what I'm not 100% clear on, for the conditional use, we gotta talk about the curb cut. And that's where,
Right, yeah.
You could make it to reduce curb cuts.
Yeah.
Along, Calhoun.
So, yeah, I mean, I would recommend approval, you know, and recommend, you know, minimizing the curb cut
Utilizing the
and
existing.
utilize more parking space.
Do I have a second?
For clarity, when you say minimize, you mean delete.
Yeah,
Correct.
like keep the existing one and then use parking there. Said,
Utilize the existing drive for the
Yeah.
new development.
and there's one less drive on the sidewalk that's gonna be across the street from the park and
Yeah,
everything.
could have a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All And now we'll discuss the site plan. I know we've already touched on some of that, but,
Correct. And so we'll get those, I'll get with him and get that stuff incorporated and talk about that further. But yeah, so, the main thing, like they're adding dumpster for the entire development. This is where I was gonna mention the floodplain. It is in the AE flood zone, so they're required to be 18 inches above, or the base flood. And I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it's about 270 is the base flood in this area, but that's something I'll confirm upon construction. And Phillips, we can minimize that too, once we determine what that base flood is, won't be too outraged with that. I do think you're trying to match some of the grade of the existing building as well.
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm like 2.5, maybe 3 feet higher than what I need to be.
Right. So, I mean, going down puts these buildings more at risk. It doesn't really improve capacity in the ditch, because that's at lower elevations. There's not really a way to put a building here and minimize filling in, the part of the floodplain that gets used most frequently.
Right.
Main thing in this case is making sure that that drainage ditch still functions as designed and that nothing is getting put in that interferes with that. That'll be my biggest concern.
He does a good job showing riprap at the end of his 2 flared in sections where everything's gonna dump and,
Right.
but I think we've kind of talked about most of it already. So it with the entrance and the parking, I'll get with Joseph on that and see, what we can come up with there. But overall in the landscaping, we did go through Art making some recommendations for, the building itself, and then landscape, he's got a really good landscape plan. He's added some trees along the south side there as well too, because there's probably not anything that's going to be built to the south, so.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the metal, is that allowed for the new
It's not,
rules?
and that's already been recommended, and that's being adjusted now for the board meeting, so. Yeah.
that'd be great.
It's gonna be great, okay.
That's our recommendation.
Yeah.
Oh, like similar rate to, I guess, the rest of it.
So also on, correct me if I'm wrong, this was some changes on the.
More articulation and shadow lines and
Yeah, that was something else.
the little flat.
Sidewalk.
Some dimensions.
I guess what about pedestrian access from the sidewalk to the building? With that second drive going, that would give you probably a spot to be able to do it.
So I'll put a sidewalk basically where the drive is.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere where they're not having to walk down the curb entrance to get to the building, ideally. I mean, I don't know what y'all's plan is long-term to connect these. The sidewalk's not very helpful if you can't get to any of the buildings on the street.
Right.
So I don't know what y'all's long-term goal is for that, but this would be a good spot to just put a little.
I don't know if there's anything stated in subdivision regulations or
It does not speak to that. It's mainly getting the main trunk line, so to speak.
Might be something that we have to add in for future.
Yeah.
Right now, it'd be completely up to them whether they wanted to.
We don't even want the sidewalk, There it is.
Why not?
It just seems like this will be the first sidewalk on Calhoun Station.
Well, I know, but it's got to start somewhere.
I'd rather not be the first.
There's more coming.
We got 3 of them.
We've asked a bunch of them.
Several of them are coming.
We'll be putting in a big one across.
And nobody wants to, but it's happening.
It's cost, it's just cost.
We'll help the city. Yeah, I think that's probably the one that we can help you out.
And the parking was already being adjusted.
Yes, to get rid of those 9'5" widths, which is on that north side there. I think he's already got that plan. We just didn't get it in time, added here, but that's something I'll.
I mean, when I talked to the engineer this afternoon, he said, well, there's a couple of ways I can approach this if we can go back to the site plan.
Will this one work?
That's fine. I need to pick up 6 inches out of every stall. Well, that landscape piece will go away. We can trim that one, trim that, trim that. I think we can make it work. Nonetheless, we're still more than the minimum. And I'm with you on that. I mean, all my clients have, made a big deal out of parking and curb cut and access. We're talking about the elevation of the building. It's tough having a building elevation lower than the roadway in front. Nobody wants to lease that kind of space.
Alright. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move that we approve conditional on adding a pedestrian walk from the sidewalk to the building. Oh, yeah, and the finalization of the, parking width. I guess that needs to be in here as well. Yeah, the removal of the proposed curb cut, replacing it with pedestrian access, and the widening of the 9.5 foot parking spaces to 10.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up, we'll open the public hearing for the spin and fold conditional use.
Yeah, so, we got an existing building over at 160 Weisenberger Road right now. There's only cleaners in that building. And what the owners want to do on the far west side is add a laundromat style service. It's supposed to be like Lost Sock, drop off and pick up, as well as a self-service aspect to it. We are requiring a conditional use on this, and we believe it's a good fit because you already got a cleaners there. This will be the only one in the city. We do have some concerns about actual self-service side of it. But this site, this is truly just a build out. The site's already been updated and approved and all that stuff in the past. So it's really about use on this one. Right now, there's no plans for the interior part of this building. Elite cleaners on this side and spin and fold will be on this side. The designers here as well to speak on this. We did make publication and I put a sign out, and today I got a comment from a Lisa Williams that fully supports a laundry service at this location.
Was there someone who wanted to speak on behalf of the project?
I'm Daniel. I'm the architect of the project. What I didn't realize was we have not updated Kane's floor plan for the spin fold. What we have gone and done since this floor plan, there's not any washing machines or dryers out toward the front like you see now. That is all public. They come in, bring their clothes. There'll be a counter to drop off clothes, counter to come back and pick up clothes, that sort of thing. So we've cut the washing machines and the dryer really close to half.
So those 5 on the left and the 2 rows on the right.
Yes, all that's in the front is not there anymore. And I apologize, Kane, I didn't realize we had not updated floor plan. So you won't see any of that at all. When you come in, that'll just be more of a foyer, lobby area for picking up and dropping off clothes. Like as Kane explained, this is an existing building that we've gone back and updated the exterior, and we repaved the parking lot and added landscaping, fixed up the building that was falling apart, and that sort of thing, and added a cleaners on the east side, small, it's a drop off area for cleaners. So we felt like the laundromat's not a good word for it, it's really a spin fold, like La Sac is. Hours of operation, she's telling me it's somewhere around 7 in the morning to 5 or 7 in the afternoon. Something about like that, so. The middle part, we don't have a tenant in the middle of the building, we've got it divided into 3 pieces now. So we don't have any kind of a center at the moment.
So the far right is the cleaner? Right?
Yes, that's it.
They're up
To
and
the east,
operating.
that right there is the cleaner, and it's just that little leg that's sticking out right there.
So the middle is vacant, and then the west
Middle
would
is
be the
vacant.
laundromat.
The west side, that leg sticks out and then it goes all the way to the very back is the spin fold. The center part is where the kitchen and all was. This originally was a restaurant. I think we've all seen a lot of different restaurants in it. We're not really looking to try to put a restaurant back into it because we really don't have the seating that you said, that you had at one time. So we'd rather have somebody else. We've shown it to a couple of restaurants that we just don't, we're not pushing another restaurant there. We're looking for somebody else that would be more suitable for it.
And the conditional use is just to do a laundromat in this zone?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else will be handled, it's a build out, so it'll be handled with permits.
And I'll get you updated plans, I'm sorry, Ken.
When you say upscale, what's the difference in upscale and?
I was, and you confirm, it's more like off site, where the majority of the business sounds like it's gonna be, hey, we drop this off, we come back, just like dry cleaners, they come back, and your laundry's done.
It's not a regular
Not a
laundromat.
self-service.
That's what he's calling it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
not a
late
laundromat.
night or late weekend, like hanging out there, people just hanging there, washing their own clothes.
But there is an option to come in and wash your own clothes.
There is an option. I think she's gonna handle that in some way, not like a club, but some kind of membership.
Right.
thing.
And one thing,
You'd be able to do that.
they told me that's different than a typical laundromat, is this will be fully staffed the whole time.
It'll be staffed the entire time.
It's not somewhere you walk in on your own.
No,
That sort of thing.
in the front, where we're gonna have the counter where you pick up, drop off clothes, we'll have a small office, that there'll be somebody there.
If it's a self-service, you said this has the possibility, where are those, washers and dryers going?
They'll be back there in the back where it's showing right there.
Okay.
Membership, they'll be-
Just with the membership, you can go
Yeah,
back there.
that's the way she explained it to me. Some people like to fold their own clothes.
Do they have proposed hours of operation?
She's proposing somewhere around 7 to 7.
Is that Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday?
She's told me 7 to 7. I would assume it'd be Monday through Saturday or something maybe. I'm not sure of that.
That's really good for conditional on that.
Yeah.
If we have a problem.
You can put a condition on it.
Restricted time.
Do they have like any designated, like for instance, I want to go do laundry by myself, I didn't want to drop it off, do it by myself. Do they have like any, specific washers and dryers that only?
I don't know if they're gonna
Versus like
separate
if I
which
were to
which
drop it
washer you
off.
can use and which ones you can't. I don't know.
See, I guess they were super busy and they had tons of people that wanted to.
I'm not sure if they're gonna separate and say, hey, this is the only one you can use.
Okay.
The conditional use would remain on this property.
Correct.
Unless it ceased to be used as a laundromat for 6 months. Is it just for like that unit or is it for the whole parcel?
For the entire parcel. It's not a unit, it's a
That's correct. So if they shut it down, it sits unused for 6 months, that conditional use disappears.
Yeah.
But an existing, an existing, somebody could come and buy from, if 6 months doesn't last.
They wouldn't have to get another one, as long as they.
So with the there is a self-service.
Yes.
So you wouldn't, I'm just trying to understand, where would, you would go to the back of the building?
They would walk straight through to the
With
back.
the membership.
And is there like a area that they would,
Well,
wait, or-
there's tables in the back on the pole club's on, and they would, up front, they would be able to come sit.
Yeah, are you asking about where will they be?
and
while
where
the
would
stuff's
you were
washed?
waiting
Right.
for your clothes to wash?
Yeah,
They'd come back up to the front of the lobby area with
do
chairs.
they have seating?
There would be seating up in the front. And again, this.
Yeah, we don't have the full
Floor
plan.
plan was, I apologize for that.
So it differs from a traditional laundromat, just in the sense that it will be staffed.
It will be staffed. When it's open, it will be staffed.
And controlled hour.
I will say if there are concerns over the conditional use for a laundromat and the business not being successful and another laundromat coming in, you can impose a condition that if the conditional use ends when this business ends.
Okay.
That's good for it.
Can I ask a question? If y'all impose time, like hours of operation limits, does that affect the entire building or just the suite?
Well, I mean, that would be for the laundry. I mean,
I know that's the intent. I want to make sure it's the intent, because I think the goal
probably
is for
specify
the owner,
laundromat services.
the goal for the owner is to have a restaurant in the middle, I believe. I don't want to speak for Freddie, but that's been his goal, so I would hate to see that.
I would say in our conditional, we need to be specific to the laundromat if we do hours of operation type job. Like I said, they don't know what's going to go in the middle. It could be a coffee shop, that wants to stay open later, so,
Or open earlier.
or open earlier, correct? This is a pretty important one. There's not anything like this in the city, so.
Yes.
Do they have, so if we were to do hours of operation, what's a range that will not, I guess?
Well,
we just don't want to not put one and then they try to keep it up until midnight or something.
Well, she told me, and I asked that specifically because I knew that'd be a question tonight. And she told me the hours of operation would be from around 7 to 7. So
Most
if you want-
laundromats open at
if you
7
want-
and close at 7, or they go from 6 to 7.
The other variable is, do we want to open on Sunday?
I think that's a big laundry day now.
Where were the adjacent businesses and where they're,
So you got Lavender Chiropractic to the left, you got a contractor behind it, and then that lot right there is all in floodways.
And then you got the-
build.
Vet coming.
The vet's across the railroad track, so it's a few parcels down. Encore, they're building the new one down in Madison, so I'm not sure if they're staying in the restaurants right there, so.
Lavender has 2 suites in that building now.
Unless I'm still going back to your membership. So I'm going to be paying a membership to wash my clothes. I don't know how that's going to go.
That's just the way she explained it to me. I haven't seen that before.
Let me ask you this, Dan,
So
is it a
you're
membership to
concerned
get in and then pay?
Yeah, you
per,
still
or
have
is
to,
it-
you still have to pay it.
Pay in the unit itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another aspect is to look at it and no cell service, strictly a stock type establishment.
I don't have a problem with self-service. The fact that we don't have one at all.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. And with the dry cleaners next to it, it's kind of a good spot for this,
Yeah.
Big parking lot.
so what is the ratio of the
Sometimes you can't
self-serve
afford the giant
versus
wash
the,
In square footage.
Or like estimated.
Estimated
Revenue.
use, yeah.
estimated use? Since
Well, the dry cleaners is just a problem.
so you're saying that that's the majority?
No, she's
No.
asking like, what's the ratio in this?
Yeah, how much self-service versus
Oh,
drive?
that I couldn't tell.
Can't tell.
I wouldn't be able to figure that.
I mean, I would base that off of the floor plans of how many,
I would assume she'd like for it to all be dropped off clothing that they make better profit off that.
Yeah, I would say if you're gonna approve it, we gotta assume, you gotta be comfortable with it being
Either
mostly
way.
self-serve.
Right.
If that's a problem, then I'm fine with that, but.
so considering any business like this would need to also have a conditional use. We're not at any major concern of there being any abundant or overflow of laundry mats.
Personally, wouldn't it come up per laundromat, like
Yeah.
per site, it's
Yeah,
not for
it's-
all laundromats?
Right, yeah. Yeah, so they.
It'll be a conditional use throughout, and I can see some amendments happening.
Impose the what?
Well, there's already
Well,
like
impose what?
Lloyd.
Like to impose
If they're
age
not
limits
raging.
on it, like maybe you don't want teenagers hanging out.
Run into an enforceability issue.
Yeah, it's just-
If they're paying for their laundry. If they're not washing laundry, then that's a different issue.
The ID, everybody.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use, based on the,
So,
I'm sorry, yeah, in the
Sorry, I closed
public
the hearing.
hearing.
Yeah, we need to make sure there's no opposition as well.
Yeah.
do we have anyone here in opposition of this project? Okay, at this time, we'll close the public hearing. And
And we
Yeah,
discussed
To
it, so
clarify where we are.
we're approving the conditional use.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's no site plan.
There's no site plan.
Yeah, it's just use here, so.
I will make the, recommendation for approval for the conditional use for the laundromat, with the final correct floor plan being provided, an estimated ratio of, expected, self-serve versus, drop-off. Hours 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I don't see any issues with that being Monday through Sunday with this particular location. I think they're far enough from other businesses. It's not going to be a nuisance. And also with the condition of once this, if this particular business closes, that conditional use would fall off and not pass on to the next business.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, and then, we're gonna move to, Mac Hike
Okay.
on this. So I'll open the public hearing. And
All right, so Mackay, they just, they got several buildings over there on Audubon. They just built a new Ford service. And our sign, ordinance allows one ground mounted sign, max hit height of 6 foot per parcel. So they are asking for a variance, and I had some confusion here, and their site plan they showed me didn't show. Essentially, they're asking for 2 additional signs. One, a ground mounted sign that's a little over our 6 foot height, in addition to the one that's allowed. And then a pylon mounted sign at the interstate that's pushing 30 feet tall. Talking with Mr. Jimmy, he works there with them. The second ground mounted sign is actually they own a little bitty parcel out there on Calhoun Station. This right here. They used to have a sign there. I did not realize this, so they're allowed a sign there on that. But per their design, it's taller than our requirements. So the actual variance he's looking for are 2 ground mounted signs above the 6 foot height. Well, if you go to the sketch, I think they're pushing 9 feet. And then the third sign, they want it 29 and some change. So, going down, it says 9'5" with the base. So two of the ground, they allowed two of these signs because they have a different parcel at Calvin. But so in regards to those two, the discussion is whether we allow them over the 6 foot. And then the pylon sign's a whole different animal. It's 20 foot. And I've got to say, we've got some stuff coming up where we're working on trying to get signs lowered. So the 29 foot is well beyond what the city's expecting. Say that.
Did you get any feedback from the public?
No, I did not. No signs. I'm sorry. We did post a sign in publication. Apologize for that.
We had 2 pylons at the interstate, and we pulled the Dodge branding out. Of course, Stellantis came in and got their signs back. And, you know, if it changes between the A and A, and you guys come up with a different height, of course, we'll put the new one in at the new height y'all recommend.
So you're saying that these type signs, 9'5", you're cool with going to the 6 foot?
We go to 6, yeah, of course. Yeah. I'll have to check with them and make sure, you know, I don't know if they.
Well, that would be allowable in these 2 locations because it's 2 parcels.
Yeah.
I still need to verify, and Jimmy's gonna help me out, verify that small parcel that they bought is theirs, but they have the exact same thing down there by Rick's Pro Truck where they got the Chevron.
Yeah, they've always told me that we own it. I haven't got anything on paper, but I'm pretty sure we do. But,
whether it's an easement or a parcel, and I can verify that for you. Yeah, and also the square footage of it, like we talked about, is 32 square feet. I think we're showing about 60 square feet on it. So it's kind of odd. So the 2 signs we can work out because they got to get sign permits and that sort of thing. So really, the real question here is the big pylon sign.
And I want to confirm that I'm not off on this, but the billboard ordinance is also going into effect.
Yeah, so it's in effect, but it was a 10-year deal, and that I think we're pushing 5 years old. So within 5 years, these billboards.
Then all the billboards are coming down.
And we're not allowing any now, but in 10 years, and we've got a list, and we've been given the duty to get tall signs that are extremely higher than our 6 foot. We got to come down, like the Texaco on 51. They've actually pulled their big sign down and got it things covered. So we've got a lot of work in front of us on that, but it's part of our mission to put signs.
So where exactly is the second parcel to the west?
Right there. So Phyllis, the other sign, blue sign's right here, down here.
Yeah, we got a Chevrolet sign right there.
Or is the next? Oh, it's right
Next
down.
down, yeah.
Right
here. We got a Chevrolet right there by Rick's, and we've got another parcel up by the body shop, between the body shop and St. D.
Okay, it looks like on this drawing that it's on the other side of the road. And I have it on the north side. You're looking on.
Yeah, so that's the actual site of his shop, the floor.
Yeah, that's the new building.
That's not a Calvin.
That's all.
Okay,
That's
that's
not-
on, that's on it, Mon, okay.
Yeah, that stops it all.
I zoomed, yeah.
All right, and that's where the computer, I asked for a new one, and that's what he brought. He's got a picture of it. They didn't supply me with where this Calhoun station was located.
I see where the old one was on the picture, so
Yeah.
it's coming back in that.
Yeah, right. It's gonna go back to the same spot. And, so really, the real question is the big, tall 30-foot one right there where the mouse is. I think Christian and I can handle the 2 ground mounted signs per ordinance.
Do we have anyone here that was in opposition to this project? Okay. So unless y'all have any other questions, I'll close the public hearing at this time.
Only that we denied the height variances for, I guess, for all 3.
Right.
Do I have a second?
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I say something? So we need this sign over there that wants to be 30 foot, but not per code, they can't have that one unless he gets a variance for a third sign plus so we need to, if we're going to deny, we need to deny the interstate sign.
All right, so he asked for a height variance and an extra sign variance.
It's kind of combined, correct, yes. So
we're denying the tall sign.
the interstate
and
sign.
We're denying the variance on the two.
And then the height of the other two signs, right?
Yes. Yeah, denying the height and the extra sign variance for the pole sign, that's the tall sign, and then denying the height variance for the two ground mounted signs.
Right.
Okay, do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. Get with me and we'll talk about the other two signs.
Oh, wait.
Get those. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and announce it.
One, Bishop, I'm gonna recuse myself from the next item.
Thank you, Lauren.
Okay, next up, we'll open the public hearing for the D. Noblin conditional use.
All right, so I'm sure everybody's heard that D. Noblin has purchased the Callaway's building and they're planning on renovating and adding to that building. In this zone, big box retail requires a conditional use, and the applicant is requesting approval to have a big box retail there in the C2 zone. Essentially, and we'll talk more about the site plan there. The existing building is about almost 18,000 square feet. They're adding another 15,000, putting the building, the whole space about 32,000 square feet. The designer and owners are here today. We did make a public announcement, I keep forgetting to say that, and put a sign out there today. We've not had any opposition or comment regarding the condition.
We have a representative that likes.
Just go to the site, main site plan. Go to the blue screen.
Yeah, that's the same one as this. Again, I'm Daniel. And, as he was saying, this is the old Callaway's building. And what you see in gray is the original Callaway's business. Where that blue is where, if you remember, there's those tent-like structures that were exterior. Well, all of those are going to be gone. They started already taking them down, I believe. And we're going to fill that in with a new building. That's going to be in addition to the buildings. We'll have a larger building, and we will be selling furniture. The gold area you see in the parking lot, that's the existing parking lot, but the gold area are actual landscape islands that we're coming back and adding in. There was no islands, no landscaping in that area, so we're coming back and adding all that into the site. We have the required parking. We didn't have to add extra parking, so we're good with that. There is, as you can see along the left side, there's an access road. It's not a public road, and that will be gated. Nobody will be allowed to drive through that area or cut the corner of the side.
And that access road is duly owned. Callaway is still on the western side of it.
That's correct. That's correct. Property line runs in the center of the road.
It'll be gated at this island right here, and of course it goes that way.
And you see that on the landscape plan. You think with it being Callaway's, we wouldn't have to add a lot more landscaping, but we did. We've added a good bit of landscaping to the site, with the islands along the north side, along the street at its top. We've added a sidewalk at the city's request. And like the other one, doesn't really go anywhere. It goes from one side of the site to the other, but it's there.
Where's the sidewalk?
On the front, it's there.
Yeah, there's an 8-foot sidewalk that runs along the parkway, and as it turns the curve and runs along the other street, it turns into a 4-foot sidewalk.
And I really feel like we're doing this with a lot of people, and the plan is once we get it kind of built out, the city's gonna go after grants to fill in the gaps. And at that time, I think we'll probably start adding sidewalks to the entrances, that sort of thing.
So right now,
we're just trying to get some cooperation and get some sidewalks down, and then slowly build.
It's 8 foot because that's usually the requirement for use trails minimum.
right.
Yeah, so so back to the conditional use, you know, we will be selling furniture. And I know Callaway's already had type of exterior furniture there before. It is a big box, but we feel like it's in the right spot for us. It's in a good spot. So we're asking that we, for the conditional use retail.
I guess my biggest concern is that this is kind of part of our village district, our little downtown area. And actually, I guess falls under our most stringent new architect and design ordinance zone. But I'm trying to see how big box really fits into the types of uses, and especially the scale of structure that we're wanting in this area for the city. I'm trying to wrap my head around, you know.
Well, we're working with an existing building, that's a.
Right, I understand that, but there's lots of ways to work with an existing building. That doesn't mean adding another big building next to it necessarily. So I'm trying to wrap my head around, you know, if the north side of this gets developed into, you know, street frontage, little village style buildings with retail and restaurants and shops, you're gonna have this big expanse of parking lot and a big box store directly across the street. You lose the streetscape aspect of it because of that. And it really is kind of that entrance to this development. It's the corner unit, you know, as you go into that street where we're kind of expecting all of this village to be built.
The existing building faces that direction, which faces that side of the street. Being existing, that's, you know, that's where all the plumbing and interior of the existing building, where the bathrooms are at. That's where all the wind bracing is in the structure. We can't have, you know, there's no opening opportunity
Also,
on that side of the building.
you also got to look at this is a big time business that wants to be here, and there are no plans for across the street as today.
We just passed the ordinance for what this area
That's
is.
that's architectural. That's a whole different deal. This we're talking about something that wants to come in and an existing building, and it's here and now. You know.
I understand that, but once it's here, it's going to be stuck here.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It just doesn't comply with what the city wants for this area.
I don't
And we
think
have the owners here if you would like to.
So do you think people are not going to shop? 'Cause, I mean, I'm just trying to.
No, it's more about, I mean, it's about the scale, it's about the use. You know, we're trying to build a certain ambiance and feel for this zone that the city laid out and wrote rules to explain what we want, what type of development we want to come in, and the form and function of it. And I'm just not sure this meets.
It completely defeated the whole purpose of creating the village concept, in my opinion. And this was.
That's architectural. That's not
This
use.
was tabled in architectural. So I don't know how we go.
That's separate. And
I guess I'm siding with you because we're talking two different.
I mean, I can read what the city's expectation for the village district is and how they describe it. If that would help. All right, village design district. The village design district areas are expected to develop as a traditional town center, to serve as a place for social gatherings, entertainment opportunities, and to cultivate a sense of place for the city. The area is expected to have mixed-use development pattern with substantial architectural and design features, creating a unique, attractive, and desirable place to live, work, shop, or seek service or entertainment. The resulting built environment will be a pedestrian scale and encourage walkability. It is therefore important that significant and reasonable standards be imposed upon both the building and site elements within these areas and that the resulting architecture reflect the community's enduring heritage. And then if you go down to that individual section, of course, it gives you more specific detailing on what they're proposing for that area as well.
And again, that's architectural. We're talking about use here, and this is an existing big building. And from what I hear, it sounds like you want to tear this down and build something different. I don't know if I agree with that at all.
And I think without having a true developer come in and develop the whole area, and without this being, there's gonna be multi-types of developments that come in here. I've got a feeling this probably won't be the last large development, but that's why we have architectural standards.
That's why we have a conditional use.
Yeah.
You have
What
to keep
is-
in
what-
mind that the architectural standards are not zoning regulations.
Right.
They're not zoning the property, they are just, they outline what the field and what the style of the building should look like, not necessarily what it can be zoned for. I know it anticipates having mixed use, but that is not the controlling zoning regulations. The controlling zoning regulations are the zoning ordinance, so you do have to keep that in mind.
Right, and that's why we put big boxes conditional, because we weren't sure it would fit well in this zone unless proper conditions were met.
Yeah, now you can place any conditions that you deem fit.
Yeah.
You know, to recommend to the mayor and board of aldermen, but just keep in mind that you do gotta, base it on the zoning regulations of the zoning ordinance and not on the architectural standards of design.
I can certainly understand that perspective. I do think we are working with an existing building that anybody that comes in is gonna have to do a tremendous amount of work to get it to any sort of standard. And so I don't necessarily feel that in this case, the big box doesn't fit due to the existing building already being there. I think that is something that could be worked around, but I do think it's important that it's noted that it doesn't go with our architectural standards. So from a conditional use standpoint, I think that we're working with an existing building and I understand that perspective, but I think the flip side of it is if we're going to allow something, it needs to conform architecturally.
Totally agree.
What's the threshold for a quote unquote big box? What's a big building?
Yeah,
It's right, it is a certain, what is that?
Don't know off the top of my head, you have to.
Because I mean, it's all about perspective. What is big? Some people say this is peanuts.
Well, you get somebody that comes in here like Andrew Matisse, which everybody in here surely knows who Andrew Matisse is. Renaissance, Costco, the list goes on, great developments. What if, somebody like Andrew shows up and says, hey, I want to do something like Renaissance up here.
I think Renaissance would fit most of the village style.
It probably would, but they do have some bigger boxes in there. So you are exactly right. There are some bigger ones inside there and there are smaller ones as well. We just don't have that opportunity to be big, and we don't have enough to do that Matisse type development, nor do we have the resources. But nonetheless,
It seems like after that, you just don't want to see it.
No, I don't think that's the case at all.
No, sir.
I don't think that's the case at all.
I've seen some things go smooth and now it's just every time. Something's not right.
because
And that's
we're really
okay, and that's
trying to
okay,
make
and
that, and
that's
we're really trying
that's
to make it
okay.
nice.
It can just be told, and that's okay, because
Before we even had knowledge of this coming through, these standards were already implemented.
I
This
know
is stuff
that.
that we've worked on for years.
I get that, and I'm trying my.
But again,
What
guys,
we're trying to do is right out of the gate, not start compromising, because
We don't want
the
to be, we
village
don't want to
district,
compromise with
the village district is very, very small. This is gonna take up a significant part of that. So if we're only left with a few little odds and ends in our highest tier design concept, where does that take everything else? And
But
then do we start allowing other
And can you-
businesses to do the same thing and just lose the entire effect and purpose? The purpose was to get away from the big box commercially feel and create more of a downtown,
But
Yeah,
the unfortunate
all the
part is
guidelines.
this is the hand that's already been dealt. This was allowed here years ago, which before any of us were even here.
right,
So we're playing kind of with a pair of twos.
right.
but we're
We all
also,
wish it was keen.
right, we're talking about zoning conditional use. We're not talking about architectural.
There's so
That,
many
that's
variables
outside of it.
that tie in.
You got an office storage building, you got multiple other buildings, that are not per the standards that are in this village district,
Right.
The police station's in here. We got two metal buildings to the south right here that are probably never gonna get renovated. And I just feel like we should be careful. You've got a big business wanting to be a part of Gluckstadt here. And it's now. The thing across the street, there's no telling that could happen. That could be 20 years.
6 months. I don't think
But
we
again,
should
we're
wait
talking
that
about
long
use.
for
We're not, in my mind, I don't think architectural has anything to do with this part right here. This is
Well, we're
use.
just talking about conditional big box, and the fact that we're considering, again, like you said, a big box look, I think there's nothing wrong really with the,
If you say architecture is not involved here, who is supposed to approve the architecture?
The architectural review.
Have they
It's no
approved-
longer a part of
Have they
it.
approved the architecture?
It's been tabled. Right. And there's nothing wrong with going ahead and pushing through a conditional use and site plan, because now, per the adoption of the ARC table, it has been separated from P and Z. The ARC board has everything to do with the exterior. P and Z is focusing on use and site.
Some of that does integrate though in terms of.
It does. I mean, you can
setbacks and
evaluate it
the
that
way you
way.
set the building up.
And make it one committee. Make it one committee. Some of the committee members here are already on the other one. You're giving them your time to come. How many times a week?
all right, we've already walked through all those weeks, and I voted to keep the architectural review recently.
So let's get back to the use. I mean, that's the main purpose here, so.
I mean, is it the use that you're concerned with, or is it the size of the building and the architectural design that'll be encompassing the size of the building?
Yeah, I think that kind of all comes together in terms of does it match
The usage
what?
of it is shopping, which is one of the key points of.
Right.
the area,
I don't
right?
think a furniture store here is necessarily a problem, but I think a
Right.
big box furniture store of this scale with this style of design doesn't match what the city was expecting to have in this area.
So this area is supposed to be made up of multiple locations. It's gonna
Yeah, it's a
constitute multiple uses versus
the
one.
village district overlay is a very small zone in the city, encompasses a handful of parcels kind of around this road. And there's a whole set of rules and then the architectural and design.
And I get that part of it. I'm saying your expectation is for this to be multiple buildings with multiple tenants with multiple uses.
It's
not
human,
combining
it's
one.
supposed to be human scale, pedestrian scale.
So if Callaway had never left,
Yeah, we
you
would
were
have
okay,
that.
you were
We'd
okay
have
with
that.
They're
Callaway.
they're
But we
non-conforming.
don't want to go from one thing that didn't conform to another.
Right, that's what I was trying to get.
Yeah, it's hard for me to, approve a big box look when there's ways to make it not look like big box. But the rendering that was provided does not,
But I still think there's cutting lines there, but
Yeah.
just the look and feel of it. I mean, if it's still big box or the interior side of it, and it's still a furniture store at a large scale, however you chop up the exterior look and feel of it, I mean,
there's
Well,
some pictures in the design standards.
right, but I think that's the game's point, that's separate and
Separate.
distinct of what the
That's not
conditional
what
use
the
act.
request is here.
And it sounds like we're wanting to potentially deny the usage of the space.
Excellent.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I get the size. It's still like a massive upgrade to Callaway's. Which is what would have been there had they never shut down.
I think a lot of those downtown areas have to have an anchor point to come in to start getting other people to come around and get that foot traffic in there also.
Yeah, we're certainly not
That's right.
saying that we don't want this business in Gluckstadt. We just want to make sure that, you know, the highest tier development, we're setting precedents. You know, we won't be able to make this decision again. You know, I think there's just a lot of variables that play into it.
But still, once again, we only recommend.
Right,
Yeah,
ultimately, the board
we're not
along
even
with.
the
And
final vote.
even if, like, if you deny it, though, it's like, I mean, obviously, there's no control. It's like, who else is gonna have the bandwidth to buy that space and do stuff with it to improve it? You know, and
I mean, that's my
we
kind
just
of
waiting
concern
at the
is
Callaway's building for the next however many years.
Right, if we,
You
if
know.
we deny it based off of this and the hopes and the intent that this turns into 10 mini stores, but yet Callaway's is
We're not
dilapidated for
saying
10
10 mini
years.
stores, but we're talking about
But
the facade appearing.
Looks aside, I mean, it's, what I'm hearing is that it's the square footage usage of a furniture store.
Correct.
Yeah, this is zoning.
Right.
Yeah, this is use.
Is the concern. I mean, I just want to make sure I understand what the concerns are. Again, facade, look, feel, aesthetics aside, I mean, what I heard was is that the intent of this area for our downtown walkabout, live, eat, play is multiple stores with different intents and different usage.
It's supposed to be mixed use, yeah, that's what it says.
I understand that, but again, if that's what I'm saying, if we deny this, is there something on the table and expectations that they're gonna buy and subdivide this acreage and this lot up to build in these multi-use tenant areas?
That's not what we're expecting or asking for.
Okay, I guess maybe I heard it different, I'm sorry.
I'm here, but you're here.
And I mean, I'm not just trying to push to say approve it either. I just want to make sure that it's clear on what expectations and the consideration for the actual ask for the conditional use of the land and the building.
Right. I will read, I guess I'll read through the conditional use requirements, so everybody is familiar with them. These are all the things that are supposed to be accounted for before we approve a conditional use. Ingress and egress to property, including vehicular and pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow and control, off-street parking and loading areas, refuse and service areas, utilities, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimension, and character, required yard and other open space, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district, whether or not the proposed use will have an adverse impact on nearby properties or the community at large. Adverse impacts include but are not limited to extent which on-site lighting spills onto adjacent property, extent to which noise generated by the use has a negative impact on peaceful use and enjoyment of adjacent properties or the surrounding neighborhood. The extent to which noise generated by patrons has a negative impact. The extent to which proposed conditional use will have a cluttered appearance as a result of site design, signage, or other features that may be visible from the street. Hours of operation, impact to natural features such as tree cover, drainage, flooding, and erosion, and then any other provisions deemed applicable by the board. So those are all the things we were supposed to take into account when we do a conditional use approval.
Are there any of those we don't meet?
What is traffic, what are traffic projections like for this kind of store?
It's not heavy.
What about,
Memorial Day and Labor Day.
big days?
Yeah.
4th of July.
4th of July, that's fine.
What about, like 18-wheeler flatbed loading and
We won't
unloading?
be bringing 18-wheelers.
Showroom only.
Showroom
This is no warehouse.
Okay.
We want to keep our sanity. 2 warehouses, we just have to punch out. It's just over. We can't do
What's
it.
the turnover on showroom items?
Once they're nailed down, I mean, you have market a couple times a year. Things change. In the mattress portion of it, they stay down for 2 years. So there's not going to be a lot of picking up. Now, let's just say that you have a table and it's, you anticipate it to be greater, you want to bought it, but let's say you want to get rid of it. Well, that you need to close out. So, because real estate's expensive and it's not paying its rent, you could say. So those kind of things would go, but you know, a lot of people don't pick that up. somebody would pick it up in one of our vans or delivery trucks and take it to our warehouse.
So you'd have small vans or small box trucks coming in and out. I mean, not 18-wheelers.
We try to run, we've got a couple 24-foot trucks, we try not to run them, yeah. We're trying to go to the smaller, Isuzu,
Like you
because
said,
it's just more
turnover,
fuel efficient.
you can have a little bit of that in and out.
Yeah. But we don't bring to none other of our, only to our warehouse that's in Pearl. That's the only location that gets 18-wheelers.
What are your proposed hours?
Will be, 10 to 7, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 6 on Saturday.
Not open on Sundays.
No. We're open 2 Sundays a year for those.
Memorial
2,
Day?
Yeah, because, everybody's off work and they just want to go shop. But we're not gonna be open on Sundays. But no day past 7. That's just, our people have lives, live. But there's not gonna be heavy commercial traffic. And the unfortunate part about a furniture store or a mattress store, it's not like a gas station. Everybody comes in to buy a drink, buy cigarettes, buy gas, whatever it might be. In a furniture store, it's not that kind of, I wish it was, but it's not. But, you might see 20 people a day. I hope it's more than that, but they're not all gonna show up at the same time.
And that's kind of my worry as far as it becomes a dead zone for the city as far as community engagement and foot traffic and things like that, where, if you're coming from the park to the south on Calhoun and you want to walk to the district and go get a drink or go get a coffee, you got to walk past this building. It's a beautiful building, but it feels not very pedestrian friendly to walk along the big 4-lane road in the middle of the parking lot.
Well, we're putting a sidewalk on there.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying.
For the
But
city stuff.
it becomes a dead zone for the pedestrians, and it doesn't, it becomes a problem there as far as the feel and look of it goes.
Can I interrupt 1 second before I forget? I'm sorry. Okay, can I get y'all's 2 minutes just for this?
Yeah, sorry, Grant, it's not. Mason, great. So furniture is not conducive to this? Is that what I'm? Because we're kind of in the clothing, we're the clothing of a house. So clothing, would that be a no-no also if somebody came in with a clothing store? I mean, I'm just asking, because I don't.
I think a clothing store of this size, we would have a problem with. I do think that. If JCPenney was.
I think you really need a big business to anchor a future development that's not even thought of yet. I mean, to me, this is a great way to show that the city's growing. We want more development across the street. This is an existing building. There'll be a park right next to it. I would love to walk past this building on that sidewalk and go get a coffee. I don't understand that comment at all.
I personally think it's a great business for the location, and I appreciate the investment and all the things, but I think the look of it, we could work on to keep it, to make it more conform with the village district and just give it more of a pedestrian.
But like I said, the architectural is separated now, guys, and that's a whole separate deal, and they've already appealed that decision, and that is going straight to the board.
So we just need to be voting, on conditional use.
Use and
Can we just?
appeal the architectural tape. The board of aldermen will be making the decision. Yeah, you can recommend any condition you want. Well, a lot of it does conform to architectural standards. There's parts that doesn't, for sure. Yeah, that's one of the ones that's a great recommendation to say it's got to change, but again, we got to keep architectural separate now.
It's just hard when it gets to us and it hasn't been.
Well, we asked that, we tried to get it all combined and the board did not want to do that. They wanted architectural here, P&Z site and use. And that's where we need to be focused here. And
I don't think the conditional use is the issue. I think
Well,
that,
then that's what we need to vote on right now.
but with that being said, we've implemented these and the process is being circumvented.
I don't think so. I mean, the process is being followed, so at this point, this should be a use question and then a site plan question. And then what's up for debate is the architectural. That's not approved. And they will not get to go to permitting until the Board of Aldermen say, we'd like this, or we're sending it back to.
So Zach said that we could make conditions based on.
Correct.
Architectural. So that-
You definitely can, yeah.
Yeah, y'all are an advisory board, so regardless whether or not this is denied or approved, it's gonna go through to the mayor and board of aldermen, whether you recommend a denial of it or you recommend an approval of it. So the conditions that you're recommending are recommendations that you think that the mayor and board should make, but they also don't have to make those recommendations. So, but you can make any conditions within reason.
And anybody can make a motion. I mean, we have multiple motions that happens at the Board of Aldermen all the time. So
When is this supposed to come back through architectural?
well, it's been appealed, so Board of Aldermen will make that decision on August 11th.
Okay. Yeah. So if there is
I think we have discussed it.
Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing.
Okay.
And, I guess I'll open the floor for motions or.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna approve the conditional use, we just need to make sure that we're clear with any conditions that we want to have. Whatever it is.
It's architectural standards.
I think that would be one for sure.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I mean, I would motion to approve, but I don't have any like specific conditions that I would add. So if anybody wants to be a motion.
That could be a motion. You have a vote on it.
And
You'll second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. So 3-3.
No, I can't vote.
Oh, okay.
What's
3-2.
3-2.
I believe it was Patrick, Katrina, and Andrew voting yes to approve, and Phillips and Casey voting no.
I can only vote in a topic.
So conditional use is approved.
Okay.
All right, site plan.
All right, next we'll have consideration of the site plan.
This is a great place where y'all can make recommendations to go towards architectural standards. Y'all can make any recommendations on the site plan as well. All right, vote. Thank you, guys. All right, so site plan, we talked a lot about it. Just want to give you a few things. They do plan to add the sidewalk, the 8-foot sidewalk along Calhoun. I believe it's 4 foot. Daniel, Gluckstadt, for our subdivision regulations. All the drainage will be flowing south to the planned development pond, which is the city park pond. Currently, I think I mentioned this earlier, currently the Stone Road is split between 2 landowners, and they do plan to gate that off pretty much from the last curb over here on the south side and then it goes that way. So
the second owner, what do they own?
That's Callaway's.
What do they own besides the road? Just
it's a big property.
They own like to the west?
Yeah, now all the way down to the pond.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I thought I just saw it.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the drawing. You have to go to the, right, there it is, yeah. There's gonna be some future development there as well, so.
So they own half the road in that whole southwest.
Correct,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Callaway still own, the owners of Callaway still own that.
And the park.
That's right.
I guess, does the city expect that to stay a private interior road, depending on what kind of development comes in? Would that ever become a paved public road? Yeah,
I mean, I think it depends on what Callaway or whoever he sells the land to. At that point, we would get with Dean Alvin and we'd figure out. If they want to keep it private, they can do what they want to with it. If they want to turn it over the street to the city, they'll have to follow Chris's standards.
Or if it's a publicly used parking lot, it would have to go to asphalt.
Yeah, so where does the park end on the north side there?
On north, this is it has this jog.
So it doesn't, the park does not loop all the way
No,
around?
this is the daycare right here, and then the daycare also owns.
Go to some imagery.
You can't walk, you're not gonna be able to walk all the way around the lake?
Yep.
The new park?
Yes, you will.
It looks like that.
What you show, that's extra capacity for flooding, that line there.
Oh, okay, that's not the
Correct.
actual.
That's not the actual pond.
Yeah, that's part of the redesign
Yeah,
of the
that's
park.
what I thought. I was confused by that line.
All right, so what we're looking at here is the property line comes like this, comes down,
Yeah.
and it comes down with this fence. So
They
the
all
walking
put
trail
stuff
goes all the
around
way
it.
around. The multi-use trail will be out here connecting to what they put in, and this will remain until whatever.
And that's like a
Spring
drainage,
months.
and that's a big drainage ditch right there that runs through.
Yes, there's actually two that run right through.
So that's gonna be difficult to develop.
All pipe.
Or rewriting.
Yeah.
Be great for a park expansion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are adding a dumpster, enclosure with the, over there by the warehouse side, if you go to the landscaping plan.
Yeah.
Is it all landscape?
Yeah, it is. Two left there.
So are these sidewalks like gonna be curb and gutter, like up along the street, or are they set back?
They are going to be leaving, they're doing this on their property, so what we'll get is an easement to maintain the sidewalks because the ditch is so open out front.
So it's still gonna be ditch.
It's
Is
gonna be
that,
open ditch out front.
is that the plan long term for the city?
We have some options where we're coming through with grants later on, but we understand how difficult it is to kind of do what we're trying to do with what's been set up already. So we're trying to work with the developers and try to do what we can.
And also be reasonable with them.
Is Gluckstadt Way still private? Or is that?
At this time, it is still private.
We're in the process of getting that done.
And that would really have to be curb and gutter if it's gonna be your city feel with stuff up on the street.
Yeah,
But this is.
right now, we have no control over it. So as it gets developed,
Right.
yes, it will.
But this is still, they're still asking for this, the sidewalk on that side to be set behind the ditch.
And the way we've done this is eventually we would probably have to come in and curb and gutter this.
What I don't want is like for them to waste time putting a sidewalk that's gonna have to then be undone.
No, the sidewalk is really on their property.
Yeah, it's on
So we're gonna have an easement to maintain on their property, the sidewalk.
But like if you come in and curb and gutter it, you're gonna have like a big gap and then the sidewalk way back on their property, yes.
And then we'll have to figure out how to tie it back in up by the river.
So is the sidewalk that's going down Calhoun, those sizes are gonna be consistent with what you're seeing?
Correct, yeah.
So because Calhoun is a collector street, it has to have an 8-foot sidewalk. Gluckstadt Way would not be considered really a collector street right now. It's more of a local street. The size that it is, it's 25-mile-an-hour speed limit through there. It's more of a local street. That's why it's only got a 4-foot. Now, as things develop, we probably will have sidewalks all the way out to the edge, and we'll have to add on to here if we do that. Just depends on what all comes in the future.
You, the city, would have to add on and not the business, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yeah. So this is their effort to help.
This is them meeting our standards as we
Okay.
sit right now.
We've got to require the size of the type sidewalks. When we start going for grants, they require a certain width.
ADA is done.
Okay, so the sidewalk that's facing Gluckstadt Way, that is gonna be consistent throughout the remainder of the village?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what's coming down that pike. Right now, what is it, Chris? On Gluckstadt Way, which is not a collector street.
Local, so
I think it's a 4-foot wide.
minimum, which
And then-
I've been told that might have to be changed to 5 for ADA requirements. So I gotta figure it out.
But once we cross the road there, we can really have hands-on on that design. and
Yeah,
figure out what we need. Yeah,
if
because
they
that's gonna be a
fill in more.
bulk design in that middle part, you know.
And if y'all wanted to, you could just say that we want the Calhoun station sidewalk only on there and leave Gluckstadt way alone and let us figure that out in the future.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm on the fence.
that is,
I think Dean Allen would be
and
happy.
I completely understand that,
If it's-
and I would not
Yeah.
be opposed to that
If it
either.
helps save the city some money and it can be used, then I'd rather have it in there, but I would hate for it to have to be undone later potentially.
As fortunate. Calhoun will stay the way that it is right there. Because whatever multi-use, the minimum is 8 foot. We're planning on 8 foot across the front of the park to wind up tying in.
Calhoun's a little more obvious what's going up and down that, you know, in the interior of this big park, we really don't know yet. And that could be, I like that recommendation. I feel like Dean Allen would be happy with that as well.
I don't say I'm recommending that, but.
I don't get grant money. I gotta earn that stuff.
I mean, as far as public works goes, I'm fine
rather
with
see that
not having it on Gluckstadt.
Talking to the architectural.
Yeah.
Another phase
I
to
guess.
make it more pedestrian. That would affect. That's what I'm having a hard time.
Right, I mean, it's not gonna meet the single lane parking or street side parking.
Well, nothing would though.
Right.
Nothing was, it's a renovation.
Right. But making up for that in some of the sidewalks and visibility from just the look of the building from Gluckstadt Way, would that require some of this to be modified? So it's just hard to make a decision on that without.
And we're covered on parking and landscaping and
Yes,
all the other requirements for the site plan.
Correct, required, for the square footage, because you got warehouse and, stores, about 55 spots, and they currently have 92 spots there.
So that's 9.5 or 10 foot.
That's a good question.
10.
I think most of them are 10. But again, it's existing.
Yeah, we made them 10 foot. We went back and ran all the parking.
Yeah.
Too much money.
So they could take out some parking, they have more than they need. So there's a lot of parking for 20 people a day. It's a lot of parking for 20 people. A lot of heat effect asphalt.
I think sitting here now, I think public works wise, we would make do that 4 foot going down the side, just because we don't know what's gonna happen on the side of that road right there. I think it would be a cost not fair thing on that one, and just figure out how to tie this in with Gluckstadt Way.
So just to the sidewalk across the
Just
front.
the sidewalk across Calhoun Station Parkway.
I personally rather see them. Again, one of my concerns, and I know that they're two separate entities, but one affects the other. But I would love to see this building not only be finished out on the front, but down that long side.
I mean, it needs to be finished all the way around to meet the requirements.
Even those two main sides are more important than the left and the back, but yeah, that's a big concern. It's gonna be visible all the way around. So does the site plan affect any of that? So it's hard for me to,
Well, now that they're separate, like I said, this will not go to permitting until there is some type of architectural approval, whether it's the Board of Aldermen take the lead and do it, or they send it back to you guys and do it. So, we're really asking you guys to really look at the site. Like parking, sidewalk, that sort of thing is the kind of recommendations we're looking for here.
that those things are gonna be affected by. That's why when you get a site plan, you wanna see the elevations with it, because that can make a lot of different, that can take the business in a whole different direction, and I just don't think it looks good to just circumvent the process right out of the bag, where it doesn't have to go through any architectural review or take any architectural recommendations for that matter before it site plan gets approved. So,
Well, if the site plan's approved, if you approve the site plan and then the architectural changes are to such an extent where it modifies the building and changes it to a certain extent, they would have to come back and get a new site plan, because you've approved the site plan that
We'd have to do an amendment.
it wouldn't essentially be in effect anymore if it's got substantial changes to it. So it's not like if you approve it and then they come back architecturally and do something completely different and it changes the whole layout of everything, you still have an opportunity, because they would probably have to come back for additional site plan approval at that time.
Yeah, what's the workflow on that, I guess? How much of a change would you think would require?
It's kind of my call, so depending on what the Board of Aldermen approves, depending on the changes, if it's in the spirit of what was approved, I can approve it. If it's major changes, like taking away 30 parking spots, or I don't know, we'd have to evaluate it. I would lean on the side of making a new, set a new site plan amendment like I've done in the past, and come back through you guys. So, I don't see the site changing that much. To me, the changes that are coming will be to the building exterior.
But to the same extent, like to Zach's point, can you, approve the site plan as is with the conditional, of the approval of the architecture, and if there's
Contingent on, you could say we
and if
approve the
there's
site
any
plan.
variance to that, it has to come back through. Can you make that as a recommendation with that?
Yeah, you can make a recommendation, like I said, so you're always advisory, so,
Exactly.
a lot
At
of
least
times.
it's noted, it's in the minutes, it's in our recommendation to them of what the expectation is. And
You can approve it contingent
to have
on,
that,
architectural approval.
we're trying to adhere to the new standards and to the, make sure that it's aesthetic and it's meeting the guidelines in the spirit of that, right?
but currently as it sits, it doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
That's up for debate. But yeah, there's parts of it that meet it, and there's parts of it that does not.
There's
Architecturally.
significant parts that do not.
So the other side of it is, you just deny the site plan, and then again, it's our recommendation of that, because it doesn't meet that, and then let the board, determine whether it needs to cycle back through or not, right? That's
Correct.
okay.
I would report to the board that the site plan was denied because of this, and this. And then they make a decision whether they want to approve it or send it back.
And I don't see why we would necessarily deny. I think the right answer, if we had that much problem, would be to table until we got the, modifications back through ARC or through the Alderman. That would be an option too. We could push it a month and hopefully get a design that's more complete. As opposed to denying it, that is another option.
So from a site plan standpoint, would anyone like to make a motion one way or the other? including any conditions.
I mean, I think the ideal path is to recommend and approve, and you guys put your conditions on it and let the Board of Aldermen determine what the next steps are. Because the site meets all the standards in terms of parking, drainage, landscaping.
I'll start a motion, and if there's any additional, conditions that need to be added. So I move that we accept the site plan without the sidewalk on Gluckstadt Way. And if there's any additional conditions that you would like to add to it, you can.
Well, you need noted that it meets the architectural standards. Right? I mean,
For the village district.
yeah.
So can you, Katrina, can you put that all in one?
I move that we accept the site plan with the, changes of removing the sidewalk on Gluckstadt Way and that it meet the architecture review standards.
Okay, do I have a second?
And I would say goes through final approval through the architectural review board.
And what Casey just added.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, do we have any old business?
No, ma'am, we don't.
Any public comment? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.